8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50. Okay, let's count again.
Good morning, students. We are late. Are you here on time? Because I clearly was not, but I am here. I woke up early this morning and then I fell back to sleep because I thought I was going to get a little bit of time. And as you can see from my hair, oh my gosh, but that's okay. We are going to get started right away. We're going to run our normal time. So I'm going to try not to rush you. This is Dr. Annette Feravich. Welcome to the Early Bird Classroom, and I'm the teacher, so thanks for joining me. Let's see what we have on our to-do list. We'll start right there, and I have to plug in as well. So, need to move that down, me down, so you can see what we've got. Okay, take off the titles. So we're going to start today with math. And I want to start by reminding you to do your multiplication tables. If you are in the 3rd grade, or if you haven't learned them going into the 4th grade, 3rd going into the 4th grade, or you haven't learned them, to make sure that you are memorizing your multiplication tables. And so, did I have those? No, not right there. I don't, but I do have them here. Where'd I go? There we go. There we go. So, remember, you can find these online. I found these from Twinkle, and I love them. So, all of the multiplication tables, if you remember, all the way through 12 is what you want to memorize, okay? And then, to help you along, there is a multiplication table chart. Remember, what you do is you find the number on the in the left-hand column. In the yellow here, find your number in the left-hand column, the yellow, and then find your number, your second number, right? It doesn't matter which order you go in the yellow row at the top. So if I wanted to multiply 4, I would find 4 here. And if I wanted to multiply it by 9, I would find 9 across the top. I would slide my finger along, right, which I cannot do for you to see, and I would find the number 36. So this multiplication chart will help you find the answers in your multiplication tables. And here's a blank multiplication chart for you to fill in, and you might even use this as a test. See how quick you are. You might start with just your 2s, right? And then learn your 3s and fill in your charts that way, okay? Also remember that you can learn your multiplication tables by counting, by learning how to count by a certain number. So if I learn to count by 2s, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24. There's my multiplication tables answers for the number 2 all the way to 12. 12 times 2 is 24. We can count by 3s. Let's do it by 5s. Can you count by 5s with me? And we can even go and look at the 5s table right here, right? 5s along the row, or I can look at 5s in the column and get the same answer, right? All right, so this should help you count by 5s. Let's do it. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60. 12 times 5 is 60. We can see it right down here. 12 times 5 is 60. Right there. I could circle it, but it's not easy to do. I don't have a pen here. I wish I did. I have a pen in my purse, but I don't have a pen to write there. Okay, I wonder if they do have writing on there. I'm not sure. I know they have text. Okay, I don't think so. A pen. OBS, you need a pen that I can use. Count by 10s. 10. Let's start. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 110, 120. Those are all the multiplication answers for the table of 10 all the way to 12. 10 times 12 is 120. We can go all the way here to 12, go to 10, and we can see our answer is 120. And then we can learn to count by more difficult numbers like 3s. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30, 33, 36, 39, 42, 45, 48, 51, 54, 57, 60. What am I doing? I'm counting by 3s, and 3 times 12 is 36. Isn't it? Yeah. So I went well beyond that, right? I counted well beyond that. Didn't I? Did I go to 33? Yes, I did. I went all the way up to the 60, didn't I? I went all the way up to 60. So see, when you learn to count by a number, you will learn the answers for the multiplication tables. If I wanted to count by 4s, 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 26, 30, 34. Oh, wait, 24, 28. I counted wrong. I counted wrong. I got up late. Oh my goodness gracious. I know. I didn't want to get up late because I had this day filled and I really was working on it a lot. And that bothers me when I get up late. And then I should have set the alarm, but I don't have my phone. I lost my phone. Yeah, I know. I know. I don't want to sign up for a plan because I have all these people stealing my identity and I want to get this problem resolved first. Oh my gosh. Okay, I said that I wanted to go get my, I do have to plug in. Let's see what else is on our... Why can't I find my to-do list? Email, ticker, time, zero, writing, numbers, count items, hungry. Oh, because I'm in the math. That's the reason why. Whoop, there we go. Okay, so we did our multiplication tables. Let's do number 2, which is placemats, hundreds, tens, and 100s. Okay. When we're counting, if you remember from last Wednesday, when we are counting above the number 9, we get to 10. 10 is a 1 and a 0, right? 10 is a 1 and a 0. And we know what that indicates is, it indicates 1 and 0 indicates 1, 10, and 0, ones, right? Now let's take a look at that. I didn't use that as an example, so I can't pull that up because I didn't use that as an example. But I'll use another number as an example. Today we are on day 53 of our class, right? So there we are, day 53 of our class. Not that one. And so you can see there I have it divided, the 5 in the tens column and the 3 in the ones column, right? So what that really means is, though, it means that we've got 50 tens and 3 ones, right? 53 means that we have 50 tens and 3 ones, not 503. 50 tens, 3 ones. That's what 53 means. It's not 53, right? That number isn't 53. That number is 50 plus 3, or 53. So the 5 represents 5 tens, right? 5 tens. Let's take a look at another number. Let's take a look at our placemat value now of 100. 100, okay? So let's say that we have the number 153, all right? 153. In 153, we have got 3 ones, again, 3 ones. But how many tens do we have? How many tens do we have? We have 50 tens. Whoops, wrong number. We have 50 tens, right? 50 tens. And how many 100s do we have? How many hundreds do we have? How many hundreds do we have? We have 1 100, right? So we have 1. All this is something that you want to understand conceptually, that you want to get the concept in your... Oh, I hope we're back. I think we're back. I did. See, I told you I had to plug in, and what happened? Oh, I'm still recording. I'm still streaming. I told you I had to plug in, and what happened? I lost everything. I did. All right, so I'm plugged in. When I tell you I have to plug in, I really do. Let me turn on that other light now. Well, I've got it going on. Oh, come on. This other light has a short in it. There we go. Oh, what a morning already. I was up at 4, if you can believe that. And I fell back asleep. put up with me? I don't even know. I'm happy that you do, though, class. I am. Okay, let's keep a move on. So, 153, 100. It's like I started to say, it's a concept that you want to understand. You want to understand that the 1 does not mean 1, that the 1 means 100, that the 5 doesn't mean 5, that the 5 means 50, but the 3 does mean 3, right? That's what you want to understand. All right, that's what this placemat value is all about. It's an important concept to learn in math. And just because it's easy to learn, and it probably is easy to learn, right? Just because it's easy for you to learn doesn't mean that you don't have to learn it, right? Or that it's not important, right? It doesn't mean that it's not important to learn. It's very important for you to learn to understand numbers, to understand your numbers. Okay, let's look at what's next on our to-do list. We got 2 things down. Number 3, adding with objects and numbers and then adding double digits. We're going to have a little bit of a hard time because I thought at the last minute what I really need is a chalkboard, or I need a whiteboard. I don't know if I have a whiteboard downstairs. What I really need is a small whiteboard is what I need, or a tablet, right? Like one of those writing tablets. None of which I could think of where I would have one here. I thought a lot and I don't have one. So we're going to try, I don't know that we're going to do our adding double digit numbers today. We may not do our adding double digits. I have to find that something to write on, but we might. We'll see. I want to go outside today. And it's a gorgeous, gorgeous day for going outside. And I'm only halfway prepared to go outside, but I still am prepared. Okay? So let's see here. Adding objects plus numbers. Let's do that. So we have talked about this in the past. Last week, Wednesday, in fact. Let's get this a little bit bigger all the way up around. There we go. Where we talked about adding objects together and adding numbers together and then adding objects and numbers together. Right? And so we did the very first one. Let's do the last one there on the left. All right? The last one there in the left-hand column. Let's do that one. So we see those white flowers there with, white, blue, yellow with a yellow insert right there. So if we count the first set, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? And if we count the second set, we have 1, 2, 3. I'm going to switch over to our math class to a different camera over here. Oh, I thought I had numbers here. I don't have the numbers here. There we go. I have it on this one. So we have 1, 2. Those numbers are way too big. Oh, that won't work. And even still, it's still too, maybe. All right, so we have 1, 2, 3. 3 changed colors. And 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we have 1, 2, 3. I know sometimes we stop here. So we've got 4, right? We've got 4 plus 3 equals what? 7. So we can count objects and put numbers to those objects together. And what that does then is it then allows us to learn how to count numbers, learn how to add numbers. So we've been adding single digit numbers, and now what we want to do is we want to learn how to add these double digit numbers. And so what I'll do is next Wednesday, I will come here and we will do these together for the answers. But right now, I've got this math sheet for you where you are adding double-digit numbers together and see what you can do with that. The only thing that I want to tell you is that when you get to a number, as in the third problem, 22 plus 10. Let's look at that one. And we can do that on a piece of paper right here for you. But I don't want to do all of them on a piece of paper like this. Okay. Let me see if I have a marker right over there. Let me go get my marker. I'll be right back. Okay, the third one, is it the third one there that I said? It's 22 plus 10. Yeah, looks like the third one. So I'm going to go ahead and write that. Oh, that's easy. That's not the problem. What am I talking about? That's not the one I wanted. Let's look at 18 plus 17. That's what we want to look at. The next problem there. 18 plus 17. Let me write that one down. Okay? So we'll make it look a little bigger. And I'm going to try and get a big sheet of something or other, probably something bigger than that. So we have 18 plus 17. How do we do this problem? When we've got double-digit numbers like 22 plus 10, what do? We put one underneath the other. It doesn't matter which order these go in. And we add 0 plus 2 equals 2. 1 plus 2 equals 3. So 22 plus 10 equals 32. Okay? But what happens when we have 7 plus 8 equals 15? Do we write the 15 down? So if we had 18 plus 17, we put those numbers underneath one another. 18 plus 17, 7 plus 8 equals 15. Do we write that number down? And then 1 plus 1 equals 2. So 17 plus 18 equals 215? No, of course not. Of course not. Because why? Because we learned about place values. And what this really means is this is 10s plus 10s equals 20, right? 8 plus 7 equals 15. We said that, right? So 8 plus 7 equals 15. Which has what? Which is made up of 110 plus 5 ones, right? 110 plus 5 ones. So when we add this, we have to carry the 10 into the tens column. That's why we learned place values. We have to carry that 10, this 10, from the 15 into the next column. So watch. 7 plus 8 equals 15. Write down the 5 and carry the tens over here. So this is a 10, this is a 10, and this is a 10. 10, 20, 30, 5. 18 plus 17 equals 35. Let's do one more. Let's do the next one. 49 plus 21. Look at, now we're getting to some big numbers, aren't we? 49 plus 21. 49 plus 21. 1 plus 9 equals 10. What do we do there? 10 equals 10 equals 10s, 110 plus 0 ones. 10 equals 110 plus 0 ones. That's why we learned placed values. So 1 plus 9 equals 10. We write down the 0 and carry the 10. The 1. And we'll just put it there. We'll just put a mark that says carry that 10. If it were more than that, we could carry 2 or 3 even. Sometimes we could. So we carry the 10. 4 plus 2 equals 6. Plus 1 equals 7. 49 plus 21 equals 70. Give it a try. Give it a try. There's a great worksheet for you to give it a try with if you want to, and see what you can come up with. Many of them are easy that you don't have to carry a number, and some of them you're going to have to carry that 10 over. See what you can do with this Super Kids math worksheet I got from online. They allowed me to make one of those online for free, so that's what I got for you. Okay, let's take a look at now our to-do list. What's left on our to-do list? How are we doing on our to-do list? All right, well, we've got our place values, 10s and 100s done. We got our adding with objects and numbers, and we have adding double-digit numbers, and now we want to just count money. And you know what? We're going to save our counting money because we've learned a lot today. Let's do it. All I want to do is just do a review of our money. So we might as well just do it, right? But that's always the problem. Can I find it? All right, I think I do know where it is. There we go. Oh, took forever to find that one sheet, for Pete's sake. And plus, on top of that, I've got the money right here too. So let's remember, that's all I wanted to do, is to remind you what that money is worth, right? So we've got our pennies. And pennies are worth 1 cent. Right? Pennies are worth 1 cent. They're like the ones column is what they're like. Pennies are like the ones column, right? So there are our pennies. I'm making sure. There are our pennies. They're like the ones column. When we stack them up, 5 of them equals a nickel, right? 5 of them equals a nickel. So our nickels are worth 5 pennies. 1 nickel is worth 5 pennies. 1 dime is worth 10 pennies. 1 dime is worth 10 pennies. And what do we have next? We have a quarter, our quarters. And our quarters are worth 25 pennies. 25 pennies. Our quarters are worth 25 pennies, right? So 10. That's from these flowers here. That's from my flowers. So 10 10, 20, 10, 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A quarter is worth 25 pennies. There's the 5. There's the nickel for the 5. So a quarter is worth 10, 25 pennies. But look at, here's 10 pennies for a dime, 10 pennies for another dime, 5 pennies for a nickel. So that must mean that 2 dimes plus a nickel equals 25 pennies, or 1/4, right? We counted up to 50 today. 50 is worth 2/4, right? Or I could have 5 dimes. 5 dimes also equals 50 cents. There's the other dime, and I need one more. Where'd my other dime go? Five dimes equals 2/4 or 50 cents. If we counted by tens, we would know. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Okay. A little bit of money we got in there too for you. So I'm happy about that. All right. Now we get to go outside. Let's go outside and take a look at some of our take a look at a little bit of our science. Hold on a second while I get up some information for you. Okay, so the first thing that I have on our list of things to do for science when we take a look at our to-do list. The first thing that I have on our to-do list is another summer buster. So remember we were doing our summer busters. We were talking about summer busters. I think. Oh, you know what else I forgot to talk to you about is, did I put that on here? Let's see here. Oh, I thought for sure I had. Don't forget to do the states and capitals as well. I was almost sure I put up states and capitals here. I must not have. Although I know I have it. We'll talk about states and capitals tomorrow, but I'll bring it up there. I'm really surprised. I thought that I had those. Yeah, I'm not surprised. You're not surprised. What? You're surprised that you didn't have our slides there? I did work on them though, and I pulled them up, and I worked on them. Maybe they're in my. Oh, are they in here? No. Where did I put those? Oh, I bet I know where I put them. I put them in the wrong classroom. That's what I did. I didn't put them in your classroom. I put them in the Bookless classroom. So I'm going to talk about those in the Bookless classroom, about making sure that you're learning your states and capitals. We'll do that in the Bookless classroom. So don't forget, that's a summer project. If you're going into the 4th grade, into the 5th grade into the 6th grade, you want to learn your states and you want to learn your capitals. So 4th and the 5th grade, you want to learn your states, and going in 5th into the 6th grade, you want to learn your capitals. All right? So I just remembered that as well. Let's take a look at our summer busters. Oh, there's the states and capitals. Oh, there they are. Boredom busters. Yeah, summer busters, boredom busters. Summer boredom busters. Okay, so let's talk about the next set of summer boredom busters that you could do. Plant some seeds, record the plant growth in your journal. This might be important because all those seeds that I bought, none of them are flowering. We're going to take a look outside at those. Make an art project using your handprints and paint. Invite friends for a fun art day. Have an art show to display everyone's art. Either to your mail carrier. Can you imagine that if you were the mail person and you got a letter from somebody? That would be awesome. And then number 15, have a movie night with your family inside or outdoors. You could put up a sheet, a white sheet, and you could have that. And you can put a movie and project a movie on a white sheet. Or, I don't know. Who does anyone do? No, never mind. Who would do that? I don't even know. But you could, I'm sure bring out your computer or something more than all watching a movie on your phone. If you did it outside, right? So what great ideas. I wanted to add another idea for you, as I did last week. We'll talk about that one in just a minute. But summer boredom busters, catch a lightning bug. and look at. Don't hurt the lightning bug. Don't smush it. Do not do that to those lightning bugs. But catch a lightning bug. There's a whole bunch of them out here right now. And watch the magic of a lightning bug. And then ask somebody, why was that necessary for evolution? Why was that necessary for that bug's survival when no other bug has a light on it? Ask somebody that. That would be a good question to ask. Let's see here. Okay, and then if you recall, I told you last week for a summer boredom buster is to look for a hummingbird. And so I put up a picture of a hummingbird, number one, first of all, to remind you to look that was another summer boredom buster that you could do, and to show you what they look like. It is so amazing. You can see them and you recognize them outside because they look like flying bugs that are about this big. They are about that big, right about that big. And they're flying, and you just see them hovering all the time by flowers. If you got some honeysuckle flowers, and they're getting the sweet nectar that is inside, and it's sugary for them, and so they like the taste. But in the meantime, what they end up doing is they end up spreading the pollen from seed to seed. Remember, we were talking about that each one of these plants have got different parts. Some of those parts are male and female. Some plants have both male and female parts, and some plants just have male parts, and other plants like them have female parts, like holly. Holly, you have to plant a male plant next to a female plant to get those nice red berries. Otherwise, you wouldn't have those red berries on holly. And the plants that don't have red berries on are the male plants. We can see that the female contains the female part of the flower, or the female plant contains the ovary and the seed, the ovule. The seed is where the berry is the seed on the holly plant. So that's how we know that the plant with the red berries, the holly with the red berries, is the female plant, because that is the seed. Remember last week I took you and I showed you, and I cut the tomato in half, and we saw the seed inside the tomato. Hopefully you were taking some plants and you were cutting those plants in half as well. Yeah, I think that's all I want to talk about plants. We're going to go outside. We're going to look at a few seeds as investigators, but that's what we're going to be talking about now. Is we're going to talk about the scientific method. So in science, we're always going to be referring to this scientific method, because every time as a scientist, what we have to do is we have to be investigators. And we do not have very good investigators at all. Our policemen are supposed to be investigators, and they don't investigate. Our scientists are supposed to be investigators, and oftentimes they don't do investigation. Medical people are supposed to be investigators, and often they don't do investigations. Teachers have to be investigators. We have to investigate what might be a problem with our students. We have to investigate whether or not what we're teaching people are actually learning. We have to investigate what grades you have. We have to investigate what supplies you need to learn. We have to investigate the books that we read. So we have to be, all of us, every day, have to be good investigators. And I think that with so much information, we forgot how to be good investigators. And so let's just worry about this very first part of our scientific method, which is making an observation and asking questions. That's what we're going to keep doing. We're going to make observations and ask questions. Okay? So the last time we talked, I was showing you some of the leaves that were outside that I said were burned along the edges. Now, this is really quite dry because I've had it sitting here, right? So I've been burned along the edges. And when I observe a plant that dries up and begins to die away, I don't have much, I still don't have much battery, and I really want to take you outside. When we observe a plant that dries up and dies away, we observe the same kind of pattern of dryness over the entire plant. We don't see just small sections of it like this dried off. And I would ask, what happened to this plant that made it dry, the leaves dry in this way? Okay. Other things we want to observe is we do want to observe, where are our seeds in these plants? Where are our seeds in these flowers when we're looking at them? So that's another thing that I've been observing, is where are the seeds in the plants? Let's go take a look a little bit outside, okay? I'm going to unplug and see how much battery I have. Not a lot, but enough. Enough for us to do a little exploring. Okay, so come on with me. Whoop. I'm going to take you out back, and I'm going to show you on the deck some of the flowers that I've been planting. And the issue that I have with them has been that they really are not, nothing's happening with them. And this is a problem that we've been having with plants and with seeds. I know. I gotta help. My son has to help me get that Christmas tree down. Our seeds, and these were called burpee seeds, and I bought a lot of them, and none of them are producing more seeds. They're not producing the fruit. And remember, the fruit is what holds the seed. All right, so here we are outside on my deck, and I wanted to show you some of the plants that I have here. So here I've got, right here I've got some peppers. These are my peppers. Oh, Lucy wants to come outside. Look at her. Look at her looking so sad over there. Look at her looking so sad over there. We got to get her outside, right? So I'm going to set this down, and you can look at the plants right there. All right? So these are my pepper plants, and these are basil plants. You'll find that the basil plants actually will get flowers on these basil plants, so that's clearly where the seeds are coming from. But you can see here, here's my marigolds. I got one flower out of my marigolds, and that's all the flowers I got. And I planted many, many marigold plants. You can see none of these ended up sprouting at all. And I took very, very good care of these plants. I finally did get these to plant. These are called moonflowers, but I haven't gotten any flowers on them, but these are the most hopeful plants that I have so far. And this is what you want to do. You want to take a look at the seeds. You want to read your directions and then observe what is going on. This started growing really well, and then it just never ended up producing any more of my purple. These are supposed to be purple something or other. Here are more of them. Purple colosseum. So here are more of those flowers right there. Let me let Lucy outside so that she can oh, she's not there. And I have broccoli plants here. These are broccoli plants here, which nothing is happening with any one of my plants. Way in the background there, the tall plants, right there. right here, those tall plants right here, those are supposed to be sunflowers. None of them are really taking off. So I'm very, very disappointed in what Big Ag is doing so that we can't grow our own food and we have to use their food. I'm very disappointed. Get involved in what Big Ag is doing with their food. Let me show you over here the orange flower here that I love. And you can see here, we've got one of the beautiful flowers with its petals, and the petals are protecting inside here, and I've showed you this before, right? So inside there, you can see the seeds are at the very bottom of those flowers. Am I showing? No, I'm not. What am I doing? There, you can see the seeds right there at the very inside of the flowers, and at the very base of each one of those is the seed. And some of these seeds are carried away, as we said, get pollinated with butterflies and with hummingbirds and with moths and things like this. And others of them, and that's how they spread and pollinate, but others of them spread like dandelions do, just in the wind. So these are things that you want to try and observe. Oh, good, it didn't stop recording. These are things that you want to observe as a scientist and start noting. Start noting things like, where are the seeds of an evergreen? Do you know where they are? I do. Do you know where the seeds of an evergreen are? What's the fruit of an evergreen? Do you know? What's the fruit of an evergreen? Right there's an evergreen behind me. Right there, right here. What's the fruit of an evergreen? Oh, here's another one right there, right? What's the fruit of an evergreen? Do you know? Are you yelling it out? What? Pine cones. Pine cones are the fruit of an evergreen, and inside the pine cone are the seeds to an evergreen tree. And that's probably maybe the best way that we're going to get any fruit at all, right? Be able to plant anything at all is if we get the actual seed right from the tree or right from the plant, because buying them isn't working. Come on, let's go in the front. I want to show you something in the front, okay? Follow me. Don't look at it. What might be a little messy, not too messy. There we go. So we were talking about the leaves, right? And observing some of the leaves and, asking questions about whether or not that can happen in nature or whether it happens by something else, right? Which is usually, if it's not in nature, if we don't notice it in nature, it usually means that a human being did it. A human being changed that. So remember what I was looking at here? We were looking at the leaves here, right? So here's one of the plants I just pulled off. And see how that brown, that's not consistent with nature. So this is when we start asking questions about what happened that might be somewhat suspicious, right? Leaves shouldn't get burned like that unless there's chemicals on there or unless somebody actually burned it. Nature would have an even burning. The sun would evenly burn those. So I'm asking questions about that, wondering. Let me show you what else I found. You know what? I have to get I have to get my stand. It was the one thing I was going to bring out here that I didn't bring out. But I'll show you. I'll just put this down like that. And you can kind of take a look at, maybe you can kind of take a look at some of the plants there. Let me be right back. I'm going to go get the stand and I'll be right back. There's my little trusty stand I've had for so long. My son gave me that. I cannot even tell you. It was $20, and I have used it so much for things like this. Okay, so I still have a low battery, so I've got to get going on this, or plug in. All right, so the other thing that I was taking a look at that I just loved and always kept wanting to show you was the seeds in this plant. This was the purple flowering. Let me get one. Let me pull it for you where you can see it. So over here, there we go. So here they were having purple flowers, and remember what I said last time that I was here? It was so interesting to me the way that these are drying in a way that they have this deep purple there inside the seeds. So hopefully you can see this. Let's see here. So see how these are turning purple, but it's turning purple inside those seeds. All of them are doing that. It seems like most of them. I don't know if all of them are doing it. Let me turn this over here, and I'll show you this one over here. This one's a little bit more purple right here. I don't want to get those. I don't think those guys want to be in there. So this one here. Look at how these are so purple on the tips over here, right? Now I'm going to pull one of those off, and this seems to be drying out the leaves. Now, so here, I'm pulling one of them off. Can you see a little bit? Yeah, you can. If I hold it out here, you can see, and turn it a little bit, the seeds inside there. I only see, do you see? Can you see that? I only see one seed there. I see other little tiny, those would probably be the filaments, I would imagine, right? Some of the other structures. Where's that plant thing that we saw? Some of those other structures in there, they have to be like the anthers and filaments in there, it looks like, all serving that one giant seed inside. So this is the fruit then. Oops, let me turn this off. So this is the fruit of this plant. Why? How do I know? Because it's housing the seed. Now look, now this is what we do as scientists. This is how we observe as scientists. This is what we do, all right? We take this and we rip it in half and we look at it. And you know what I found out? A lot of things is what I found out. But first of all, what I found out was that the red is not on the inside. It's on the outside. Look at, if I open that up, I can see that that red is on the outside, not on the inside. That's interesting to me. It must turn that color then because of the sun, right? I also then took a look at the seed. So here's the seed. And if we look at our picture here, we can see that the seed has an ovary that protects, that's on the outside of the seed, that protects the inside seed. And can you see that? If I hold it up to the light there, and I'm going to try and keep that. No, I'm not. What? Yes, I am. What you're looking at there is the ovary and the ovule. So you could see the seed that's being protected by the ovary here. All right? So let me try and look. I even got some of that purple on my thumb here, on my thumbnail. So it comes off. Can you see that? You probably can't because it's bad lighting. See? I got some of that purple came off on my thumb. All right, so here is the seed. Here's the seed. And can you see that there is, I'll show you on this one that I pulled apart the other day. Because the outside of this one, now you can see it much more clearly, can't you, than you can on the brand new seed. But the outside, which is the ovary, begins to dry out, and the seed is still left there. So see how this outside right there is a little flimsy, right there, and dry? That's the ovary of the seed, and inside is the ovule or the actual seed, and all of that protects it, right? All of that protects the seed. Why? Why all of that protecting the seed? Why do you suppose that is? Because that is where life is. That's where the life of the plant is. And everything about that plant brings it life. The sweet nectar inside the flower brings the hummingbirds and the butterflies to it, and spreads that life around. Everything about it protects that seed so that it can produce more life. This is Dr. Annette Feravich. I want a better background than that when I say this is Dr. Annette Feravich. There we go. Well, you know, not their house. Ugh. Switch. There we go. This is better. This is Dr. Annette Feravich. I'm the teacher. Thanks for joining me and sticking around in the early bird classroom. I'm going to need a 15-minute break. So we will be back here for our Bookless classroom in 15 minutes. Thanks for joining me in the classroom. I'm the teacher. This has been the early bird classroom. Thanks.